Okay, so hello there everyone and welcome to the ReBBL Season 11 Challenger Cup game between Zoltans Zwords, coached by Mr. Monster, and is it the Nasty Nibblers, coached by Papa? Can't remember what his team's called now. I'm sorry that this was popping up at the last minute. Yes, it is the Nasty Nibblers. I thought someone else was going to be casting this, and now they're not, so you guys are stuck with me. Of course, if anyone around wants to jump into the casting booth, you are an approved caster, you should be able to find me. But yeah, okay, so first let's have a look at Zoltan Zwords, coached by Mr. Monster. These are, of course, two big O teams. Zoltan Zwords have been around for a little while, whereas Papa Nasty's team is a one-season Skaven team. So on the team here, we've got two Bull Centaurs, all six of the Choff blockers. We've got a Mino, which is a little bit of a big deal. As well, we've got a couple of Hobgoblins, one with Daddy Player Wrestle, which is a combo I know a lot of coaches in the Big O are a fan of, and a Sure Hands Block Ball Carrier. Sure Hands on the Hobgoblin suggesting that Mr. Monster prefers to carry on a Hobgoblin, unlike, oh god, what's his name? Shuma, or Zygmunt, who was in the playoffs earlier, carrying on a Bull Centaur. But this is, a really developed team. He's got guard all over the place, tons of Mighty Blow, quite a lot of Claw, a ton of piling on as well, actually. The only kind of abomination is this Minotaur here, who's called What a Load of Bull, which I think kind of describes the feeling some people would have towards seeing a Choff Mino on the team. Switching over and looking at Papa Nasty's team, the Nasty Nibblers. Why is it not letting me search by members? God damn you. Here we go. Yep, so the Nasty Nibblers here are our first season Skaven team. And we've got a Skaven thrower there, which is a little bit of a weird choice, some people think. A lot of people like it, a lot of people don't. I personally like it because it gives you a much better throwing option when you're going for the one-turn plays that Skaven are most renowned for. We've got 4 gutter runners here who are remarkably well leveled for being a one-season team with 1 level 5, 2 level 4s, and 1 level 3 respectively. All of them with dodge and 2 heads, well except this guy, who's kind of like built as a sacker. In fact, they're all really built as sackers. Papa very much wanting to get the ball on the floor with this team. They have taken their fair licks and bruises though, one being AV6 now, and the other one being movement 8. Movement 8's still super quick, as any elf catcher will be able to tell you, but the armor value 6 is going to mean that this guy's a huge target. Both Storm Vermin are built as killers, with Mighty Blow Tackle on both of them. We've got a lineman with Wrestle, a lineman with Guard, and a lineman with Daddy Player. I think the Daddy Player is going to be huge on the Skaven team, because you're going to be wanting to knock people down with Mighty Blow and then fouling them. That's just the way that Skaven play. A lot of people are suggesting, alternate builds of the Gutter Runners, and I agree. Usually I like to have a ball sacker, a ball retriever, a ball carrier, and a one-turn specialist. So you kind of like build them all into different jobs, but the way that Papa's built it here suggests he's very much going to be cage diving, trying to get the ball on the floor. And it looks like he puts a lot of value on that. So, I'm not sure if they've started yet. They should have, given the time they told me, so I'm just going to have a little check. Once again, guys, sorry for not being entirely prepared for this, as I didn't know I'd actually be casting this game. It looks like we haven't started yet, however. So let me just see if I can get some more information on what's going on. Where are we at? Playing some TFT. I didn't know the Frozen Throne was so popular these days. Wargos Warcraft 3 is coming back into fashion, isn't it? Wasn't the game supposed to start like 20 minutes ago? Yes, it was, Gabba, but Mr. Monster's kids apparently got in the way. And as an elementary school teacher, and having my plans ruined by kids every single day, I know what that feels like. Are we up yet? No, we're not. Right. So where's Mr. Monster? He did any news? I said he pushed it back 20 minutes. That was 10 minutes ago. And pushing it back 20 minutes means it would start at 20 past and not half past. Of course, if you guys prefer, I can go back to my little title screen that I've made and throw up some more Octopath Traveler music. You guys seem to enjoy that. Did the coaches even show? Well, they're around. They are definitely around. Shakes fist in anger. How dare you not give me my ReBBL fix? I need to watch a bunch of ReBBL Blood Bowl on the weekend. God damn it, guys. Of course, we've got plenty of other games going on today. You know, right now we should be having the Challengers Cup game between Papanasti and Mr. Monster. In about 6 hours from now, I believe, the other Challenger Cup game between Conspiration Entropique versus the Night Seeing Knee, which, if I'm reading that right, is going to be hosted by Chabsu. So that'll be in 6 hours, and another 3 hours from that starts a huge kind of, flurry of playoffs and Challenger Cup games. So you guys have got a lot to be entertained by tonight and earlier. Again, I feel a little bit like let down now. I came on, they were like, no one's casting this game. So I was like, must cast games. So jumped on, got everything ready, rushing around, and now I'm just waiting. I just found out yesterday I've got Monday off work though, so that's pretty cool. Hey Papa, I was about to send you a message. Any news? Are you starting in 5 or are you starting any second? Yeah, okay, but I'll need to have a look around the Discords and see if Aaron said anything. I'm sure Aussie Viking was down to do this. Put the Crusader intro if you have time. Crusader intro is the playoff one. This is the Challengers Cup one, which I don't have yet because I didn't have time to prepare. Yeah, I've got Monday off, so I'll be working 3 days next week, and then I've got 1 day of trading the week after that, and apart from that, I'll be off till August 27th. Oh, sorry, August 29th. Should be kicking off in 5, apparently. He's just sent me a message, so that's the current state of affairs, guys. Again, if I'd had time to prepare, I'd have the bracket up, I could show you what's going on and what's in place here, although I'd need to click the don't spoil me thing on. The Challengers Cup seems to be a fair bit of a success. I'm still amazed, honestly, we actually got to get all the games casted last week. Between playoffs and Challengers Cup, it's been insane. Of course, after bragging all the time about how good the Big O's sports reporters are, I couldn't let a game slip through the net like this, could I? We can't be the ones to let the side down. Dear. Like here I was just, playing Path of Exile with, SGDQ on in the background, catching up on that stuff, and then boom, no game. I don't mind Legion. I still think that they haven't put out a league that's as good as Betrayal yet. If anyone wanted to do kind of like a custom league that was just Betrayal League, I'd totally be up for joining that. Like, Betrayal was amazing. The one after that wasn't too bad. I can't remember what it was, though. That one where you had to do the little jigsaw thing, I didn't really get into. And then Legion's alright. I don't like the fact that we don't have a cool NPC to give us stories, though. Yeah, Synthesis I really wasn't a fan of. Didn't like. Did not like at all. Oh, Sean, man, if you didn't play Betrayal, you need to play Betrayal. Especially if you played Path of Exile since, like, before Betrayal. With, like, all of the Masters coming back and attacking you, it was just so good. Just knowing, like, why the hell are you guys doing this and figuring out the story. It was... I'm a bit of a story nerd when I play these games, so, yeah. How can you play Betrayal now? I believe there's a way to set up custom leagues and things where you can add on different modifiers and things. So, I think... I'll look into it later, but I think you should be able to just make a league that's just Betrayal League. Okay, cool, Papa. Good luck to the both of you. I'm obviously completely non-biased in this matchup, because usually I'd be cheering for either one of you. Yeah, ba-bum. That was me, by the way. Going into inducements now. Cool. Okay. Pricing private leagues cost 120 points to create. By default, they last 10 days and have 10 player slots. Hey, I've got 250 points on my PoE account. If we wanted to get a big ReBBL Betrayal League thing going, I could get out one for like, like 20 days or something. What's the size of the inducements? Okay, I'll just go back and have a look again. We're gonna go this way. Challenges Cup. Teams, members, Zoltan. 2020. Not Masty, Nasty. Nasty Nibblers, 1640. So by my count, and never do maths on stream, guys, that's 380 TV. So I'd imagine we're probably going to be seeing Glot and a Wizard. At least. Although I haven't played Skaven properly in a very long time, so. And there hasn't really been a great deal of Skaven coaches to play against in the Big O, if I'm honest. But like a wizard with all these, like, gutter runners and things is going to be, like completely manic. So it should be a really good game. Yeah, Zoltans Zwords would definitely be a little bit more TV efficient if they didn't have that big miner. Oh, Jamis and Schleiss, yeah. Well, Jamis rerolled, didn't he? And Schleiss hasn't been here for a while. What's that, like 2 seasons or something? I think it's been like 2 or 3 seasons since I've played a Skaven team in the Big O. I actually think Atomic Caleb was the last Skaven team I played in the Big O. Because he always got pissed off at me at how much I used to just stall on him. And here we go. Yeah, Bribe with the Dirty Play I think's a particularly strong choice, but Papa has to be worried about the attrition he's going to be taking as well. And Apos have been really strong in playoffs and the postseason so far, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that trend continue. So we'll keep it on from the Skaven's point of view. We'll have the toss shortly, whenever the game decides to go in. You can jump in if you like, Gabba. I'm assuming you can see where I am. Yeah, I think, what we're probably going to be seeing here is, the Skaven defending and the Choss receiving. Like, if I was the Skaven coach, I'd probably choose defend. If I was the Choff coach, I'd probably choose, receiving. But, that's not what's happened. Zoltans Zwords have chose to kick. As per fan factor, it looks like the Nasty Nibblers have rolled a 17. And the Zoltans Zwords have rolled a 15, so that should be +1 fame, which it is for Papa Nasty. He's got a wizard, a bribe, and the fan factor, and of course Zoltans Zwords have nothing. As we welcome Gerber into the cast, as soon as I change my Discord settings. Okay, you should be able to hear me now. Good morning, or good evening, Gerber.
Good morning.
How are you on this fine day?
I'm doing well. Happy to cast some Blood Bowl. Even though it's chore, and I don't like chore. No one likes chores, though.
I like choffs occasionally when they're not punching me.
I mean, you like them when they are far away and not in front of your face.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Sean, man, Papa Nasty plays Rats now, because Division 1 last season, not Season 11, Season 10, pretty much all of Big O1 decided we were going orc hunting all season, and we beat them up bad enough that they rerolled.
I mean, eventually the orcs had to start dying.
Yeah, I think,
and
like...
eventually it was last season.
Yeah, Papa was just kind of, like, unfortunate that he ended up in a division full of people that really enjoyed fouling now. So, that was the end of that.
Like with so many seasons, getting fouled even, because people knew his players are pretty juicy foul targets, and he always piled on. Like the fact that they lasted so long was also somewhat impressive.
Oh, totally, yeah. If you guys want to relive the fear of playing against Bash Incorporated, you can join up to the Immortal League, which I have on good authority that Papa's going to be entering, so you guys can, relive the fear that we went through for so many seasons.
I mean, it's not as scary when, like, your players don't actually die.
In Greenhard, a lizard team let a Chaos surf a skink into a badly hurt, which was Apoed. And then later on, 2 Saurus die. How do you feel about this, Gerber?
Not a fan of appoing skinks in Greenhorn. Like, why? I mean, maybe if it's your last skink and you're too afraid to do Source Ball. But then again, why would you be afraid to do Source Ball? You should do that regardless in Greenhorn. Like, just don't like put the skinks in the corners and forget that they exist, so they don't accidentally catch the ball or something.
Yeah, I agree with that. First game of Greenhorn as well, the Chaos don't really have the skills to punch, skinks either.
Yeah,
It's just really easy just to run away from them.
I'm a fan of surfing skinks though, so at least half of that is good.
So you're Papa Nasty here, you're receiving the ball against Chaos Dwarves. The weather's no longer raining, which is probably a reason why Mr. Monster chose to kick the ball there.
Yeah,
Are you
like
looking to kind of stall out and battle for position a little bit, or are you looking to kind of do a quick kind of sort of 2-3 turn score?
I mean, with how Papanas's team is so top heavy on sacking, it would be very surprising to see him go for a stall. Just because his team is so much better on defense, because all 4 gutter runners are pretty much built for defense, not for offense. He'll have a tough time in offense. Really using those gutter runners for good value.
Make a favor to Monster and kill the Mino. Calls for Twitch chat. I feel like Twitch chat, and well, I feel like every Blood Bowl coach just likes seeing Minos die, though. Whether it's Chaos Minos or Choff Minos or whatever.
I mean, the Choff Mino is silly. Like, he's okay because he did get 1 double. I would still take block, honestly, just because block is good. And it does have a movement, I guess, which I probably wouldn't have taken personally, but still he's acceptable as a Mino, because he does have claw at least. But he's not good.
Yeah, one thing I really like about the way that Mr. Monster's set up here is he's got the Bull Centaurs on the far sides of the channels. Like, when you're setting up on chevrons, a mistake I see some people make is they actually put, like a strength 2 piece or a fairly weak piece kind of like in those corners. And, a fast team like either Wood Elves or Skaven can still sort of blitz through it. Whereas, Mr. Monster's correctly identified that that's actually the weak point of this formation, when he's actually jammed the strength 4 guys in there. I think that's really cool.
I mean, it depends. Like, sometimes you actually want to try and invite your opponent to go and, like, sort of push themselves into a small gap, and that way you can really surround them. Chovs don't really have the speed to do that, but some other teams could completely box you in if you overcommit like that on turn 1. Especially with a lot of tackle and some stand firm. Oh, we're gonna see a foul.
Oh, I need to turn my animations on. So this is what happens when I'm not prepared. But that's a good foul. A really,
I'm
really good
probably
foul.
up with that. I think you're up with that. He's a good player.
Oh, totally, yeah.
You're like badly hurt, 100% to come back. Yeah, good apple.
Yep, especially, rolling a 5 on that as well. Your Apple are badly hurt, you take away the chance for the Apple to screw you over a little bit. I'm just going to turn my animations on. So that you guys aren't missing out on anything. I know some of you guys like the suspense of them.
I mean, it's cool. They look nice. Stream. Ooh, we're gonna see a pass. Essentially a vanity pass. And it does fail the catch. We might have an opening. Surely we have an opening here. You could blitz Glar with multiple different players, and if you do, you could get like 2, maybe 3 tackle zones on the ball rather easily with your both of your Bull Centaur, and maybe the Mino if he behaves, or a Chorf if you GFI. That seems really scary, honestly.
I agree.
If Mr. Monster feels really juicy, could blitz the gutter runner next to the ball with backbreaker, and then theoretically bring in the Hobgoblin with a couple of GFIs and a dodge to pick it up. It's probably not worth it, but he could go for the ball this turn, which seems really risky with going for the pass and not re-rolling it.
Yeah, because Papa doesn't really have a gutter runner kind of like built as like a retrieval piece, with skills like big hands, sure hands, that type of thing. I really like the idea of kind of jamming in a whole bunch of players around the ball here. Actually saying, okay then, with all your guys in the back being strength 2, apart from Glart there, who you can blitz down, what are you going to do about this?
Yeah. Like picking up the ball is probably a bad thing here because then it can push you with straight ball into a better scatter. But it's gonna be harder to do that if you just put like 3 tackle zones on the ball and force awkward plays. The question is, who do you use to blitz guard? Do you go with the Mino and take the risk for the better hit, or do you just go with your Frenzy Bull, who is much better as a blitzer because it doesn't have Wild Animal?
Change settings? Are you guys not seeing something? Or is there something wrong with the stream?
Yeah, the Gatrunners do have Dauntless, but it's a rough Dauntless on Strength 4. You don't really like rolling it. Because if you do fail it, you are always going to be in red dice territory, which is not nice, and it is a 3+.
Star player is Glart, who's strength 4 Storm Vermin, block, claw, and that's Juggernaut, right?
Yep, that's Juggernaut. And Loner, because he's a star player. I might not be committing to the ball here with the chops going the wrong way. I would have liked to see the chops kind of go in with the team. That way you have like a backfield of guard, which makes it even harder to do like a good dauntless blitz to maybe try and scatter the ball.
Yeah, I would tend
As
to agree.
Like
Like,
Skaven don't have the easiest way to deal with a bunch of guard, but it's very much seems like it's maybe going to blitz this dirty player. The fear of the bribe is probably big, but I don't think it's the strongest play. There's such a big opportunity here to make Skaven's life messy. And if they do fail a pickup, you could just luck out on a pickup yourself and score next turn. And if you go 1-0 up so early, this game is going to be hell for Papa Nasty. Oh,
does look
we're
like
gonna
he's just,
see.
whoa, okay.
Oh, he's chain pushing the dirty player onto a hit, which is not bad. I don't hate that. Shame he needs to use his dirty player because then he doesn't have a foul. But that would mean there's probably not gonna be a good foul next turn. So that's something for the for the Chaos Dwarves.
Yeah, he is kind of giving up control of a lot of the pitch here. I mean,
Yeah.
forget about Papa Nasty's half. Like when Papa does retrieve the ball, he's got the choice of kind of like, wherever he's going to go now, whether he wants to go left, whether he wants to go right, or even whether he just wants to sit on a cage and keep the ball deep for a little while.
Yeah.
You know,
It's a bit giving up on the defense. That also gives Papanasti the option to maybe stay back and try to stall this a bit longer, because usually you don't really want to stall long, because you're usually more going to take more damage while on offense. So it's easier to just base you and be in the way. But if you're not gonna go very aggressive, Papanasi might be inclined to just say, well, I'll just stall like a turn or two for free and only push later down the line. I'm still fast.
yeah, totally. I think if Mr. Monster wants to punish this after kind of like what he's done here now, like the next time it's his turn, he really needs to start like getting some good punches in on rats and start removing some of these line rats and some of these other things that are kind of like up, mixing it with his Chaos Dwarfs. Because if he doesn't, or if he doesn't manage to get some damage, I think things are going to end up getting really quite rough for him quite quickly.
It could get messy fast.
Oh,
Armor break on the Nigel, but nothing doing there. Boxcars into snakes. That is somewhat exposing his gutter runners though, so we might see a nice blitz on the gutter runner next turn.
would hope so. I mean, he can bring a Storm Vermin round to kind of protect them to a certain extent. But
I mean, surely one of them will be blitzable. Ideally, it would be the worst one for Papanasi, the movement 8 one. But it would be asking for a lot to not have any blitzable. Glout is coming in onto a blocker. Still no damage.
Yep, Snake Eyes there, so Claw not really doing anything.
Yep.
Get
He
one
could
dice
commit
onto the
here.
Mino.
I don't like taking it. I mean, with Wrestle maybe. Ooh, that's spooky to not use your Gutter Runner for the pickup. A 1 in 9 here could be really bad with on the ball.
But we have one dice the Mino. So
And
you're
also
right, there
that
will be a
exposes
1 in 9 pickup here.
the Armor 6 Gutter Runner to be bombed, which I'm not a fan of at all. Because it's very easy to hit now.
Yes. I
That
completely.
is scary stuff. I would have maybe used the Storm Vermin and used that Gutter Runner to pick up the ball just for the consistency of it. Because with 4 rerolls, you are willing to commit a reroll to not have the ball stuck in your own half in a very weak spot.
He didn't want to 9 the pickup though, and the speed of the Skaven thrower is going to make him drop back. One thing I don't think Papa can do here is pick up either of these Skaven that are in the middle of this scrum at the minute. So I think if
Yeah,
he
I mean, if
does,
you
he's
pick
opening
them
up
up,
chain push opportunities where he can chain push some Chorfs in towards kind of either Glad or the Gutter Runners or anything else
yeah.
on this line. Give up
Like,
even more hits.
standing up would just give more block to the Chorfs without using the Blitz, because they would just chain push the 2 Chorfs with guard forward so they could block, like, the Gutter Runner or the guard line rat for free, essentially. And then you still have your Blitz. Yeah. A lot of really good Blitz options. Essentially, he could pick which Gutter Runner he wants to hit. I wouldn't be surprised to see a hit on the Armor 6 Gutter Runner just because he's a bit more squishy than the others.
Oh, totally. I agree. That's where I'd be looking. It's absolutely the most vulnerable there.
Yeah. It's easier to hit, and you can even maybe wrap around with one of your Bull Centaurs forward just to have some pressure and say to Papanasi that he can no longer stall like this without any consequences and kind of force a play, which is honestly something you would like to see as the Chorfs, I assume.
Yeah, but now's our chance to see exactly what Mr. Monster is thinking.
Yeah.
Just admit, I haven't managed to see many of his games in the past. I'm not entirely sure if he's the type of coach that takes quite a while thinking or whether he's more impulsive with his movements.
I mean, in like a playoff situation or Challengers Cup, you are gonna like go a bit slower just to think over things because you really don't want to lose just because you were playing too fast.
Oh, totally. I know Papa, in contrast, no matter when he's playing, he's always very kind of, he has an idea of what he's going to do before his turn happens.
Yeah.
And then he just kind of does it. Whereas some other coaches, they're very much like, it gets to their turn and then they plan their whole turn in their head before really doing anything. So it's just a contrast in styles, really.
Yep. I mean, I'm definitely the type of coach who plays really fast always.
Oh, I know. You scared me the first couple of times we played with just how quick you play. It's like, what?
Yeah. Like the thing is, I think so much during my opponent turn that by the time my turn comes up, I like have my whole turn laid out. So like, what's the point of thinking again if I have the turn ready? And it definitely catches some coaches off guard for the first few games, just because they don't expect me to go and like do a half a minute turn every time, because they don't get the time to think on my turn.
Yeah, no, I
And,
agree.
and also they are sometimes caught by a surprise if they flop, and then it's even more confusing because it goes by so fast. Are going to go for the best scoring threat instead of the best damage, but it's still a mighty blow on a gutter runner. I
See,
mean, that's probably good enough.
that's good and it's paid off for him, but like, I feel like I would have preferred to see a hit with a piling on piece just to kind of maximize kind of
Yep.
your chance of doing damage.
I
Like
mean,
that's
the
really paid off
issue,
there, but
like with the turn one injury on one of the piling on and one of the piling on being on the floor, the only one was Craggy, the pump guard, and he realistically could only reach that armor 6 gutter runner. So if he wasn't willing to commit to him, it wasn't going to happen.
I think
And
that's where
now
I
he
would have
could.
gone though.
I think I found a dirty player here. Oh no, he's going for the Storm Vermin. Still a good foul. That's a 3. Nice.
Yeah, so the fouls are definitely being a little bit one-sided so far. The ref hasn't had to get involved yet, though, which,
Yeah, I
definitely,
mean, like, the Storm Vermin and the Dirty Player are still in a really bad spot, so I think Mr. Monster is happy with that, because it's not, like, it's gonna be really difficult to score this turn, and maybe Papa Nasty will start to feel the pressure with the player down, and seeing that Mr. Monster is willing to commit to fouls to get even more players down.
I struggle to see what Papa's gonna do here. Like, he can kind of run around to the right and maybe kind of get a screen off and then look to be establishing his AV6 gutter runner as kind of like a scoring threat. But kind of like failing that, I don't really see another option other than just kind of trying to disengage and stepping back a little bit. But then that
Yeah,
almost feels like you're playing into the Chorf's hands if you do that.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty much like, do you go back and stall, or do you now just commit? Because you could very much use Glout and the rest of Line Rat to do a very nice screen and essentially be safe. With the ball in the hands of the Armor 6 Gutter Runner and score next turn, the question is, like, does Papa Nasty think he can stall this out long enough? And this might be suggesting a slower play, going in for the Mino. Not a fan of hitting the Mino, honestly.
Yeah, I think he's gonna try and chain push out his one of his storm vermin that's on the floor here by hitting with Glot from the right and then just kind of pushing
I mean,
through. But
you would have to base even more. Like, you would need to base the pump chop once more from the front, and that would be like giving out 3-4 hits. I think the guard guy is going to just get pushed away from Gelart after blitzing from the side, or from the Storm Vermin blitzing from the side. And like, if he blitz with the Storm Vermin, Glart is like a follow-up block, but I just don't think the Mino is very good in this matchup. He doesn't have block, he doesn't have tackle, so he doesn't really deal with gutter runners very well. And he's just a wild animal. Like, sure, he's nice to kill, but I would really put him down on the priority table. I think he's way weaker compared to most other players on the Chorf team,
no, that's a
and
bad
he's still hard
GFI.
to improve on. Yeah, bad GFI. Reroll is used. Second GFI is good. He gets a push, which is good enough to get the follow-up block. Would have been a very scary second GFI
Oh
there.
yeah, that's a cool chain push actually.
Yeah, he gets the follow-up block. I don't hate it. I just think the minor bad target, because even if you remove him, it doesn't achieve too much for this matchup. Just because I genuinely don't value him super hard, at least in this matchup, because strength is not, like, the chops are gonna be strong though. That's just a fact. Now the big issue is, once again the Armor 6 Gutter Runner is super exposed. And this time you can even 3-dice him without any sort of commitment with Pomp. And I'll be genuinely surprised if we don't see that.
Yeah, that's true. Mr. Monster definitely needs to get guys over to the right now to kind of, just kind of plug up this path a little bit. Right now it's just kind of like a straight run down the pitch towards the end zone. He needs to
Yeah.
at least offer some sort of resistance in that area.
I mean, if he blitzes the Dauntless Gutter Runner on the front, like the other two Gutter Runners are not the best, because like Speedy Sam, the Wrestle 2 head is movement 8, so it's actually just in scoring range, so it's a bit easier to get in his way. And the other one is also just in scoring range, so once again, it's a bit easier to just put a couple of guys and they cannot really sidestep around them to avoid dodges. Yeah, like, at this point you really want to go aggressive, as Haringzord says, and either like go super all in and force Papa Nasty to score, or go really all in, make Papa Nasty fall back, and then have him crumble slowly. With the Minotaur standing up, that's a lot of room being controlled by the Chaos with only one player, so he could really go heavy on the basing this turn, I think.
Do you think he's debating a foul before moving more of his players across
I
to the
would
right, or?
not foul first action without a bribe, that's mental. But he might be. I mean, it's an interesting choice, that's for sure.
It's not something I would ever really consider, but
I mean, maybe if you had like a bribe, but I don't like. I think the Dirty Player is definitely the better foul target there, and I don't think it's good enough to take the risk of like a 1 in 18, you lose a player, and you pretty much give the Skaven the choice of how this drive is going to end, which is probably going to be a stall to turn 8, which is really bad. So, like, I think at this point, the question is how do you want to blitz the Armor 6 Gutter Runner? You could bring in the Guard Bull Centaur and use one of your Chorfs as a guard assist, so you lock down the other Gutter Runner and the Storm Vermin and just blitz. And if you don't bomb, you could choose to not go for the pylon and just have that Chorf around to be a backup hitter or like a safety Chorf. Do you like me a safety Chorf?
I'm not really a fan of any of this kind of safety chuff me, but the
I
GIF,
mean, the
sorry, the
safety
little
Chorf
picture
is
was brilliant,
good.
but the fact I see some people actually thinking about it makes me sad. Oh,
I mean, it's like with on this
natural
matchup
break.
there.
There's the pylon, and for nothing.
Right. I mean, still a stun, definitely valuable. I'm surprised he didn't commit to make that block a 3 dice. It's because of how simple it was to turn it into a 3 dice. Like if you put in your other chore, it would have become a 3 dice because you both have guard for the GFI. I think you
And
reroll this GFI. Yeah, Darby recommending it.
ooh,
Ooh.
he definitely should have.
I mean, with that result for sure, but I think it, like this is just saying to the Skaven, you can like you have a free turn essentially. I'm not pressuring you.
Like, I think for me it depended on what he was gonna do next. Like, if he was gonna put the Hobgoblin in there, I would have really liked to have seen the Chaos Dwarf block Bloody Bonebreaker come around and stand next to him in front of that Gutter
Yeah.
Runner. I feel like if he was just planning on putting that Hobgoblin there on its own and leaving it, then you're just giving away like a free surf type thing. So I wouldn't have been a
I
fan of
mean,
that.
it would be a really big commitment for yourself because you need 2 assists to hit with the gutter runner, and at that point, like you're super happy to force like 4 players out of the Skaven for that hit. When they are like essentially 2 down with the KO and the stun, and another 2 down with the 2 players stuck in the center, being sort of useless. So if they commit so many players, the ball is either not going to move or going to potato up the field, which both are, I think, are good for the Chorfs.
Yeah. Pep has the option now, like what he wants to do with his Gutter Runners and his other quicker players as well. Whether he wants to establish kind of like a basic cage, whether he wants to send Speedy Sam really deep to establish like a really long screen across the sideline.
Ooh. Going for this is not safe.
Don't like standing there.
Yeah, like this is many things. Safe is not one of them because like you need to block the front, you need to block the back, and you need to also respect the chop on the floor. And honestly, the chop on the floor is the real reason why this is not a safe spot. He's gonna foul with the gutter runner, and it's still not a safe cage. I'm not a fan of this. We don't see a break.
No
That's
break,
bad.
yes. We're absolutely going to be seeing, dice under the throw here from the Choth blocker, I reckon. Or
Yeah,
even
this is.
the Bull Centaur could
I mean,
even run round with that movement.
yeah, like you use the bull center to run around just because it's like better. It's a 2 dice, and it's only 1 GFI. Might as well use the bull center. This is not good. I think. I think this play is really messy. Like, sure, you can bring him over to block that, but still, the Chorf is a threat. Like, there was nothing you could do to block both threats at the same time, except maybe dodging some line rats. But he's going for 1D blocks instead. Maybe with a dodge there was a play to kind of get in the way, make it hard to mark the wrestle to his gutter runner and make it a 1 dice instead of red dice. We do get the guard dodge, which is quite big.
Yeah, he has to jam that guard in there. But I guess that makes it, like, unattractive about throwing red die, but, like, the numbers guys will tell you that that's still a pretty good action. We're just
Yep,
rolling 2 red die against a
25%.
ball carrier that doesn't have block or dodge.
I mean, you can definitely still get a lot of players in the way there. I mean, if you can get like 2 players on the ball and just hurt one of the gutter runners, it's still a very messy next turn. Like, this is not a nice spot. I don't like this position from Papa Nasty. It gives a lot of options for Mr. Monster to both aim for stalling him and putting a lot of pressure at the same time. Because he could go and like just base the front part alongside still putting a lot of pressures on the ball, leaving essentially no rats free to just move around as they wish. And especially if he blitzes one of the gutter runners, that's going to limit the play.
Again, from us now, it's just sort of wait and see.
Yeah. Where do you want to commit your resources? Yeah, that foul is a bit risky. There was a bribe in play, so I don't completely hate it, and it was the worst gutter runner. And I think for that position it was a mandatory foul, but then again, I think like you could have just had the ball one to the right here, and there was no reason to not have it. Because like if the ball is one to the right, that shove is not scary. That gutter runner just screens from the back, and sure you still need like one of the line rats to dodge to complete the sort of cage, but it's better than just accepting the fact that the shove will be next to the ball. Like he could totally just stand him up, blitz like the strip ball gutter runner with the claw pump chove, and then he has 2 choves on the ball with guard, and it's really messy to get either of them off. And that's 0 commitment.
Yeah, I think calling things idiotic's a bit harsh as well, though. Chat.
Yeah, it was a 3 assist foul, I guess, but that's still like not super amazing against Armor 9 when it.
Like, you have to remember as well that when we're casting and stuff, and from you guys as well, that when you're watching, kind of like, you're only seeing kind of like one perspective of like the result of what's happening. Like, a lot of the time coaches have these grand plans in their head, and they're like, oh, right, I'm going to do this, and then when this happens, I'm going to do this. But if like one of those chain breaks, you know, and something doesn't go as planned, you know, people can end up looking a little less clever than what they originally planned.
Yeah, I think it was unnecessary because it could have like shifted the cage one to the right. But maybe that's how you go for this game. It was a good foul target. I don't like the fouling player, and I don't like risking your ball.
Yeah, with where he
Just
put the
for
ball
like,
there, he's forcing himself into a foul. But
yeah, like he could have done the foul without the assist of the thrower being one to the side, and I think it would have been overall a nicer play just for the consistency. As we see, the Bull Centaur just casually powering a dude.
we have 3 dice block.
Yeah, not sure why would he use the Bull Centaur this turn, but
No break, even with Mighty
he-
Blow.
yeah, could have hit a gutter runner with bomb on a 3 dice as well, so I'm not sure about using the Bull Centaur. Maybe he kinda wanted to pick a push there to put the Bull Centaur on the ball, but there was definitely an argument to do that.
The Chuffs are going to end up with a good chunk of guard all kind of like based up together, though. It's going to be hard for Papa to... Oh, no, it's actually not going to be that hard for Papa to
Yeah,
front dice,
'cause
I guess.
like with the position, like with only one guy on the ball, it's a bit weak. He could go and base the Storm Vermin with his Bull Centaur and then bring in the Hobgoblin to mark Glar. And then there are not a lot of free players, I guess, to actually do stuff. And maybe that's the plan. If you don't have free players, then the guard is actually really valuable because it forces dodges
Yeah.
to actually get a proper hit. And also, like the Bull Centaur with guard could move somewhere else with his break tackle, maybe be some sort of sweeper. Yeah. I don't hate just marking this Storm Vermin because the other Bull Centaur can mark the other. Ooh.
Oh, what's this? He used break
Did use
tackle
break
earlier.
tackle. Where is he going? I'm not a fan because he had a very good lockdown play here, but he forced himself into a 4+ dodge and into a stun. That gives with Glart and the other Storm Vermin being free, I think this is a very weak play. But he's sort of forcing Papanasti to score here, unless Papanasti is willing to commit for quite a lot of dice.
I
So
think with a
there's that.
blitz, like, it's quite possible that Papa actually just frees up a bunch of his guys here. I mean, with a blitz, you can free up the ball carrier. You've got Glart you can potentially screen off with, and then you know, with like just a 2+ dodge to get into the gutter run around, you can probably do a half decent sort of, you know, cage
Yeah.
/ screen in the top right here.
But you are, in a sense, still giving out a lot of blocks unless you're not going to stand up half your team, and then the Chovs could fully surround you and at least force the score next turn. But definitely, I'm confused by that dodge. Because, like, he could have stayed there next to the Storm Vermin, you move in the Hobgoblin, you move in the Bull Centaur, and then, like, now the Blitz is quite tough to do, because there's no one free to do it. You would need to, like, dodge the two-head Gutter Runners to the side and use him to Blitz, because he has Dauntless. And it would work to free the ball, but not to do much else. Like, it would very much force the score, because this would be, because that Gutter Runner and the ball carrier would be the two free players. Oh, that's dicey, not blitzing. It's going in with the Gutter Runner. I'm not a fan, because I think, like, that limits your available players. This is very much going for the score, I think.
He's still got his
Like,
blitz though, so you have to ask yourself, you know, where's the blitz coming now?
yeah. Like, are you blitzing the Mino? Because that's the only genuine blitz target I'm seeing, and it's a quite weak one. Because once again, I think the Mino is not the best player in this matchup, and I think Mr. Monster would be really happy after a turn like that he kind of flopped over to still get the forced score.
Oh, the miner goes down. I think
Mino
now
is
that you've
alive.
committed so many guys to a block down here, I do think you are kind of committed to the score now.
Yeah.
That's a
You
1 in
could
36 to not score.
maybe go back and stand next to like the Stone Vermin and the Wrestle Line Rat and the Gutter Runner with Dauntless and Wrestle Two Heads with Outstreet Ball, but that seems awfully weak because you are in danger in that position. There are Chorfs about and the Mino. Like if the Mino makes the stand-up blitz and he just piles on like Chorfs, like the thrower is in a bad spot. Ooh, we're going for a dodge foul. That was insanely dicey. 29 there, and the ball is essentially on the floor for free. And we only see a stun. This, I think, forces the score. Yeah, we're gonna see Papanasti going in for the score,
Ooh,
but
just a 1 in 6 now.
Nuffle might have something else in mind.
Oh, he's made it.
Scary stuff. Scary, scary stuff. Yeah, I don't think. I think your line to maybe try and stall this was probably a better line of play. Like, blitz, dodge out with the Gutter Runner, have like Glart, the Storm Vermin, and the Gutter Runner all screen up, and just stall another turn. Because 4 is enough for the Chorfs. And, like, sure, you have a bunch of good sackers, but you don't have Leap, and they do have Sure Hands. So I
Yeah.
don't think Papanasti has such good sacking options in this matchup, surprisingly, despite committing all of his Gutter Runners for it.
Yeah, we're going to have 4 turns for Mr. Monster and his Chorfs to actually turn around and try and get a counter score here. If he does do that, then I think it's, you know, going to be a battle in the second half just to see if he can hold onto the ball for long enough. In fact, I think that's going to happen in the second half anyway. Like, the longer this game goes on, you know, the more you expect the Chorfs to eventually start beating down and removing Skaven. And if this goes to overtime, you know, it's going to kind of, you know, the balance of power is going to keep going in the Chorfs direction rather than the Skaven direction, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, right now the Skaven have hold very well. And the Chorfs did both use the Apo and get a Hobgoblin hurt from that GFI. So maybe if the Skaven hold long enough, they could be fine despite not scoring there. The Wizard next half might be able to push this into just a 2-1 win, because the Chorfs will score here, but you next half you'll get a very good Wizard eventually, and you'll be fine. Also, why is Glart on the LOS?
He won't be on the
Why is Glart
LOS.
not on the field? I'm not sure which one is worse. Because one of them is worse. I'm just not sure which one.
Glart's going to be on the field.
With this, like,
Surely.
This is very much saying I'm okay with you scoring this half.
Yeah.
Like, because he's not putting all of his big guns. But then again, he has so many like players he wants to protect, especially with the dirty player being so valuable and the guard being valuable. Maybe like the hope for Mr. Monster is just herd those rookie line rats and next half. Like he just doesn't have rookie line rats.
Yeah.
So do you put your dirty player on the line? Do you put Glart on the line? Do you put the guard on the line? Doesn't matter. Mr. Monster is happy with that.
I think it's incredibly important for a team like Skaven or quite a lot of the AV7 teams actually is just to have a lot of, line fodder to protect your positionals, because as soon as you lose that line fodder and people are hitting your positionals, it always feels like something important's gonna die. And especially after a one season team like this, it has the potential just to go boom if, they have a bad game here.
Yeah. I mean, like, this is very much like Papanasi is very much having an issue with deciding, like, he wants to roll a 5, but what's the point of roll a 5 when you have like 10 players he wants to protect? Because he wants to protect all 4 gutter runners, the storm vermins, like 2 of the line rats and Glar, and the thrower, because he has leader and it's nice to have, especially in overtime format. So, like, sure, you can bench 3 of them, but that's really weak, at least for this drive. And like, you're still having too many players. And also, this setup like is like super in the back, so Blitz will be weak, and the Minotaur with that plus movement can still go and Blitz Glard. So I'm not a fan. Because I think Mr. Monster was going to do a Mino Blitz anyway, from how he played up until now.
Yeah, he definitely strikes me as one of these, every turn
Yeah, I mean,
Blitz plays.
like the Mino Blitz on Glart is quite good, because Glart is the strong player, and he does have Claw, which is somewhat scary. And it's free, because he's just there, and you can use the Minotaur, who's slightly faster to blitz him with Claw Mighty Blow, so might as well. No. Like with this deep setup and only 2 gutter runners on the field, I think this is the weird position where you don't really respect the blitz too much against Skaven. Just because it's gonna be a very weak blitz even if we see one. Unless it's like a god kick. And even then it's gonna be a very weak blitz because he's still down 2 gutter runners.
Yep.
Like, that's just the nature of things. If you have 2 gutter runners, you're not as good. Who'd have thunk it?
I would tend to agree with this side there. Listen, I'm running rule of 5. I have a very cutthroat kind of like mentality in it. It's like, you're a lineman. And linemen are only ever going to be linemen, so you put the lineman in front of your positionals. Like, even if you've got guard or dirty player or anything like that, I think I'd rather that than giving up hits on either Storm Vermin or Glard here. But on the other way around, if you want to have like your most armored guys at the front and like, the ability to kind of, potentially stop hits, then yeah, having a strength 4 guy there is probably the correct choice. Blizzard now.
I think that's bad for the Chores for sure, because they do rely on that sure feet sprint on the Bull Centaurs for speed. But they do have the time, at least this half, to score.
Yeah, with Photons, they've definitely got enough speed to score. It's a weird one, this. We started off with Rain, then it went to Fine, and now we've got Blizzard. So we're seeing line rats being pushed down the line now. Blocks being thrown off. Lots of pushes coming.
Yeah, but there's still a whole lot more of Mighty Blow until we are starting to get into awkward territory. Yeah, first knockdown. I think you might keep that. Without a babe, and with Papanasti having such an awkward time choosing people on the line, a KO is sufficient, I think.
Oh, I agree. I think he'd be insane to reroll that in this game at the moment.
You really, really want to see more knockdowns with 75% knockdown on each hit with the chops. This is actually dreadful to see so many pushes. Ooh, another KO.
Thus it is. How are you always ahead of like whoever you're casting with? It's uncanny, you know
Magic.
that. It's
Magic. I paid cyanide money to be able to see the future. I actually have like the full list of dice log when I'm casting and I know what's gonna happen.
right just before it's there, so you can be like, oh, and he's dead. 2 seconds later, doo-doo.
Oh wait, he blocked someone else. Oh, the other guy's dead. Goes for the pickup before finishing his LOS blocks. Is it going with... I still would go with the chop to keep the Mino for a blitz. I think the best thing the Mino can do this game is hurt Glart, so you might as well let him do that. But we might not see a blitz this turn.
You can still potentially blitz with the
Ooh.
Bull Centaur if you don't mind rolling these 1 in 9s. That's an
Finally.
injury though.
That's big, just because of the lack of linemen that you're willing to put on the line from Papa Nasty. 3 out of 3 on the LOS. And if we maybe can get that wrestle line rash as well this half, we might see 3 positionals going on the LOS next half, which would be silly, but also hilarious.
Yeah, totally. The Skaven LOS is just evaporated there. He's going to be
Yeah.
forced now to have, Wrestle line rat on the line, God line rat on the line, and Dirty Player line rat on the line. I really can't see him
I
putting anything
think
else there.
I think Papa Nasty is really valuing his dirty player right now, probably overvaluing him even. So we might even see like not the dirty player on the line and not the guard on the line. Maybe we'll see Storm Vermin on the line. Maybe we'll see Clout on the line. Or like, I don't know, like there's too many players he wants to protect because he's not going to put a gutter runner on the LOS because that's silly. And he's not going to put a thrower because leader is really good. And losing a reroll before the game, like the half started, is pretty bad. So like, what do you do? And who do you blitz this turn?
Yeah,
Chops are
that's
gonna
good.
have to go quite fast with the Blizzard still, because they are just in range to not reach with the ball without GFIing right now. So maybe you try and defend this.
Yeah, Glot blitz on the Mino easy enough, 2 assists
Yeah.
forward in there, and that still lets you kind of keep guys back to kind of, at least have a little bit of a zone defense. But
Now we have seen Papa Nasty very much respect this Minotaur, but I still think he's not that good. Is he still going for him? Because that's... I mean, Glout is fast enough, I just blitz from the other side.
yeah.
Oh, he's going for
Or
the one
one
dice. That's
dicing.
brave. Oh, Skull. That will later reroll. You don't take a free Claw Mighty Blow hit on a Storm Vermin. Oh, just a push. Probably punish for that. I would call that a punish, hitting a reroll, not getting a knockdown. Yeah, I mean, sure, Mighty Blow is a bit better than Claw, but 2 dice is so much better than 1 dice in terms of knockdown rate. So,
If
I'm
we're
not
being
a
like
fan.
kind of like, I'm playing like super devil's advocate here, but he could turn around and say he'd never reroll a hit with Glot. Whereas if he can reroll kind of like a 1 dice hit with a Storm Vermin, so really is 2 dice or 2 dice.
I mean, if you
But
get a push with a Storm Vermin, do you reroll it and risk the Claw Mighty Blow hit for free?
I would definitely tend to agree with you, but I do think that like, there was kind of like a line of play could have been.
Yeah. I don't know. I just personally, like, even if I roll a push on the 1 dice, I would not roll it just because a Skull would be a free Claw Mighty Blow hit and the Minotaur just gets a free block next turn as well. So essentially, you're giving out 2 free Claw Mighty Blow hits
Yep.
if you take a Skull there, which is really bad. I mean, you theoretically get better damage with Mighty Blow by a teeny tiny bit. I like going really aggressive here, but still, like, because the ball is deep enough, like, the Chops don't have to do anything risky this turn yet, to go full distance. Because they do have enough guard to protect themselves.
That is a free surf on the gutter runner, as chat's pointing out there. There
Yeah.
is a frenzy bull
Yeah,
centaur here that could
probably.
easily pull that off. It would
I
maybe
would
open
like
a
to see
running lane for
that.
him to come through on this right hand side as well.
Yeah, you can even make it a 3 dice into 3 dice just to really, really put that gutter runner off the field. I'm not a fan of that, that's for sure. Like that gutter runner could have been like one to the side and still have been just as effective because the chops are not gonna squeeze in through a gap yet. It's too early with the ball position. Yep. Self and maybe pull the ball to the left here. Try and go as forward as you can. Minotaur stays.
Yeah, the
But I
fact he
think
hasn't blitzed with the Mino makes me think that he's actually seen that frenzy surf. So.
yeah. I mean, he could have selfed with the Mino, but that would just be pure nonsense.
I'd be lying if I said I didn't consider that, but
I mean, the big issue is the Mino would be, ooh, he's not going for the commit to the 3 dice. Gets a push anyway, so that's good enough.
he's
Got
got
a
us.
runner into the crowd. KO.
KO.
Pretty good.
As you said earlier, all these KOs with no babes, they have the potential to really cause Papanasti some problems.
Yeah, if we see like 2 KOs fail and Papanas is still making this score this drive, we could just not bring it to overtime, which is really good for the Chops because then the KOs were essentially injuries. The real question is where do you go here with the ball because it's going to be easier to go full distance and be safe on the left, but it's going to be kind of awkward regardless. Might be committing here to this sideline. Could be good, but it's definitely risky if Papanasti is willing to get in your way and risk more players.
I mean, you can just
But yeah,
base up absolutely everything in front of him here with a variety of like guard and stuff with all these choffs, and then say,
yeah.
okay, what are you gonna do about it?
Yeah, he has like 4 chops and the Bull Centaur. The Bull Centaur can mark Glart, and that forces an assist for a 2 dice, and you can just base everything else, and the guard will kind of cover you up. That's not bad, I guess. You will be safe. Kind of want to move that additional square of movement, but then you will be somewhat exposed. If he can, I mean, I would still do it because he needs to knock down the stand firm dude who's already protected by guard, and you can even bring the other hobgoblin to protect him even more, or that chorf to protect him even more.
Yeah, I like this a lot more that choff's gone there.
Yeah.
I think as well as kind of like bringing back and hitting the Stormverm guy, there's a potential to punch the guy in front of the Stormverm and not follow through. Then Asaka could have ran through, but yeah, that Choff now standing there makes that a lot more difficult.
I'm not a fan of pulling the Bull Centaur back. Like, especially with the snow. He's not that fast as he usually is, because he cannot really GFI as much. Yeah, it will be a GFI to score here, Simon, because it didn't move full distance. Well, it was a bit risky, but I think worth it. Especially with only one gutter runner left on the field and it being armor 6, maybe Papanasti wouldn't be as happy to pull the trigger on a cage dive. But this is, like, the thing is with this setup, like, if he somehow gets the knockdown on the same Chov, it's actually a better blitz from compared to if the Hobgoblin was 1 forward. Because then, like, he would have to blitz next to 2 guard, but now he can just use 2 heads, dodge, and it's, oh, it's a 2 plus dodge, but I get a 1 dice instead of red dice. And honestly, if he failed the Dauntless on the first, like if the Hobgoblin was 1 forward and he failed the Dauntless, that would have been 3 red dice, which is pretty bad.
So
I
yeah,
don't know, I'm
Skaven
not a
being asked the
fan.
question now whether they're going to try and disengage and kind of come back and maybe try and set up a screen or something, or whether they're going to commit to a fight a little bit. Maybe
That
suggest
smells like
committing
a
to a
fight.
fight against Chorfs is probably not the greatest idea ever.
It's definitely scary. Because they are stronger than you. Because they have more guard. But Skaven do have a few guard of their own. Maybe they can pull something off. They did get 1 block there, but I'm not seeing much more blocks outside of the blitz. because the guard is still in the way.
Yep.
Maybe they could blitz. There isn't even a good blitz except blitzing this rookie Chorf, because you cannot really blitz like the Pomp Chorf with your Mighty Blow, because he's protected by the other guard.
If he one dices the with his guard's lineman, if he one dices that chaff in front of him for kind of like a push up better, follows through. And then you can get a one dice onto the other chaff if he manages to knock that down. You know, there's potentially kind of like a hit on the ball.
That's
But that's
a
a lot
weak
of
hit
one
on the ball.
dices without kind of, you know.
Yeah, like the first one, like a both down would be a turnover, and the second one it still would block the play because all the Chorfs have blocked. Could maybe blitz like stand firm with who gets the knockdown. That
Oh,
might.
it's the one dice play.
Yeah, he still needs another one dice, and even if he gets it, it's a bit messy because you also need to respect the fact that I think Mr. Monster wouldn't mind surfing another gutter runner. Just saying.
Just fold that one to the minor,
I mean, he needs that for the other one dice
I
because like
guess. Yeah.
blocking the stand firm is pretty bad. Oh, wait, this is a 2 dice now, but you're also very much in the way of a blitz on the ball. No, gets the knockdown. That was
So
important.
what sort of odds are we looking at here then? What? Well, yeah, you're talking like if he gives a reroll to it, it's like a 1 in 9 dodge to get the dice on the ball.
He does have 2 heads, and he
You're
does get a
right.
knockdown. Papa Nasty getting all the dice, 3 pows in a row, 2 of them on 1 dice. Pretty rough, but a bad scatter here could still be good for. Oh, this is a scary ball to pick up. That's Surf City if you fail the pickup, which of course he does not.
And he just
But he's
dodges
still in.
back through to get inside to avoid the counter surf. Yeah, there we go. Skaven doing Skaven things there.
Yeah, all the dice really, but still, the Chorfs have. Oh, that's getting into range. That was a 3+, by the
Is he gonna
way.
punt that or do you hang on to that?
I mean, the issue is the Bull Centaur is faster, and you will get clawed in the face. But like this is putting the ball back enough for it to be messy for the Chorfs. I'm not a fan of the GFI though, even without using a reroll up until then, just because you're accepting the fact that a 1 in 9 would ruin your game and give the Chorfs a chance again. Because they kinda needed something after such a bad chain of dice.
No, you can still throw short passes, guys. He could have thrown the ball about the 18-yard mark there.
You know, he could have thrown it to the end zone essentially in the Blizzard. And like honestly, if you are willing to commit to the GFI, I would just throw the ball instead because it's more effective. Because he did commit to a 3+ GFI, so might as well make it better and have the ball be at the end zone, sort of. But there is a tackle hit on the dude. The issue is no one can pick up the ball after that and still be in range.
It's where the
Probably
gutter runner
good.
has to take his medicine now.
Ooh, I'm not a fan of not making this a 3 dice. That's definitely a weak play, but doesn't matter. It gets the knockdown.
Mighty
Like,
blow onto
because if
AB6.
yeah,
Ooh,
Claw Mighty Blow onto AV6.
another
Another KO.
KO.
I mean, that 100% guarantee we're not going to go 2-0 down, which was possibly a fear. But it looks pretty poor for the chance of the counter score, because you will need to do some handoff plays into the Bull Centaur probably. And I assume Papanasti is aware that the Bull Centaur is the only good uh, like scoring threat remaining, so we might see a blitz onto him. Oh, I'm not a fan of that push direction. If you push the other way, then he would be on the Minotaur after the Minotaur blocks. I mean, considering the first half had like 0 removal on the Skaven, this is not super insane. Because honestly, the Skaven not getting removed is way more silly than Skaven getting removed.
Yeah, if you
It
think
could be
about the
a
amount of
fun.
blocks that Mr. Monsters actually had onto the AV7 guys, it kind of expected.
He's going for a pass play, risky dice here. Gets it. That allows that Hobgoblin to GFI into scoring range. But that's not a nice GFI to roll. I'm
I
not
think
a fan of doing that pass before moving the Bull Centaur forward, because then you don't have a threat.
Yeah, I'd like to see the Bull Centaur come forward now before kind of like moving the ball any further forward. Like whether he moves it into scoring range or whether he moves it just to provide an assist to be able to hit onto vindictive vines.
Yeah,
I
you
just
could
want to see it
sort
do
of do both.
something.
Yeah, like here isn't doing nothing and it's pretty bad. Like the big issue right now is you do need another GFI with that current Hobgoblin with the ball, and you
Yeah.
already threw a decent amount of 3+s. You're not a fan of throwing more, but you sort of have to. And next turn you would still need 2 GFIs to score again. So maybe the plan is like get the Bull Centaur in scoring position and maybe hand off to him. Because the Bull Centaur at least has short feet. Who I'm not a fan of this.
We're
This
just
is
handing
dumb.
off right now.
Yeah, this is dumb.
Doesn't have his
That's not
reroll
the right.
either.
Yeah,
Like, if he
I
had
mean
his
that.
reroll, I would have minded that. I still wouldn't have liked it, but I wouldn't have liked it as much as I don't like it now.
Yeah,
And again, the
this
fact that he didn't
essentially.
move someone into scoring position first before attempting any of that, just...
Like you could have moved the Bull Centaur like 3 forward and then handed off while marking the Storm Vermin, and that way, like you'll be in range with 1 GFI, which is like 2 GFIs, but that's acceptable with sure feet, I guess, and a reroll. And like you could also get the block, and you will be in a better position overall. Who uses the Dirty Player to assist here?
Yeah, I
That's
think what I
probably
would have liked is having the Bull Centaur come around to provide an assist for the block on the with the Choff that's getting blocked down now. And then you would have had the Bull Centaur, yeah, 2 GFIs to score, and then, yeah, ball carrier comes downfield. So even if he blitzes the ball carrier down, you know, you've still got a chance of retrieving it with the ball and a chance of
oh.
scoring.
Why would he go there? Like, there's no score threat. He's like, sure, you're next to the ball, but no one's scoring. So this is essentially giving a free serve to the Chops again. I'm not a fan of this. Not a fan of free serves when they mean nothing, because the Chops definitely misplayed that last turn, not pushing a scoring threat.
Ooh.
Casual.
Is that Galad or was that Line Rat? That was a Line Rat, right?
That was the line, right?
Line Rat KOing a Choff blocker. That's something you see every day.
This game is confusing. I will agree. Yeah, like honestly, the most surprising thing to me, didn't use the Minotaur to take the free 3 dice on the guard, dude. Like before throwing all the dice, I would have done it just because it's a free hit, and your play was really unlikely. Oh,
Wow, Skaven punching back now.
yeah, really good damage dice for Papanasti this whole game, really, alongside some really good RG dice last turn. Down goes the guard line rat. Might as well reroll it.
That was from a 1 dice block as well.
Yep. That doesn't stop the surf, but it makes it harder at least. But it doesn't stop it. Yeah, the ball is in a good spot to stop the surf. Still could go for it, but I think it's better off just taking the easier hits. Oh, that is... Can we get a... We could get a double surf here, I think.
It could, but it wouldn't be the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah, it's a bit rough. Could definitely surf the guard line man easily, because you have break tackle on the Bull Centaur and guard on the Bull Centaur. So you just dodge around, wrap around, and blitz him with the Hobgoblin, and I think we'll see that play. If Mr. Monster wants the surf, he could also just blitz the Dirty Player with Bomb, with 2 injuries already, and that KO. You kinda don't want to have a next half where Papa Nasty fouls a bunch, because
Yeah.
you know you don't have a bench and you didn't score, and it's probably going to overtime. So maybe you just go and try to remove that player because he's scary. That's somewhat, yeah, with that being a push as well, it very much smells like he's not going for the serve. But that's
Is he
fine.
thinking about
Still
rerolling
has...
this? Surely not. You've still got the palm hit.
Yeah, the pump hit on the Dirty Player is more reroll worthy, and you still have a follow-up block on this one. Like you can even make it a 3 dice with the Bull Centaur, which you should.
Let's see the removed players. So on the Chorf team, we've got a Hobgoblin injured and a Mighty
One of the
Blow God
Pommel...
piling on Choff injured, with another Choff KO'd. And on the Skaven, we've got a whole host of KOs with one injury, one line rat injured, and all of these guys that I'm clicking on KO'd now.
Yeah, very one-sided damage, honestly. Papanasi definitely getting away with armor 7. This is taking a lot of time to consider, like, how am I going to block 2 rats and then end my turn? Because, like, I know you want to hit them, like, to death, but I don't think taking longer, like, will kill them out of old age. But honestly, I'm not sure.
He's
I don't
rubbing the
know
dice,
anymore.
charging them up in his hands, the lucky blow on it before you kind of
Yeah.
throw them down.
He's contacting Sinai to see if he can change the dice log or something. Writing an angry email about how he hit so many rats and nothing died yet.
Post on the forums or on the Discord, start picking CCL admins and stuff.
I mean, there is slow and there is like unnecessarily slow. Also, I'm not actually. Like this did have a follow-up hit, so maybe it wasn't complete bad, but I'm not a fan of this blitz target. As we see a stun.
Yeah, if that was a removal, it would have been huge. But I think if you're fishing for damage, I still like hitting with kind of like mighty blow piling on.
Once again, the Chofs are not going for 3 dices. I'm not a fan of that. They had so many opportunities to do more 3 dicing. Like, especially at this turn where nothing matters, like, might as well commit to it. Like, what's the point not to, really?
Well, there's the half with Papa Nasty and his nasty Nibblers going at 1-0 up over Mr. Monster on the Zoltans Zwords.
No, 2 coming back on the KOs, which is not good enough. Like, it's good enough for 11 players, but it's not good enough to stop this from being a very messy LOS. Because someone good is going to go on the LOS. The question is who? Oh, the guard guy is sacrificed. Dirty player is sacrificed. I think with the damage, like with the Chofs no longer having a bench, and this very likely going to overtime, I would very much rate the Dirty player as a good player. Just because, like, the fouls is a good, consistent way to get more damage.
Anyway, like I said earlier, for me, it just comes with the job description. You're a line rat, you go on the line. Your job's to die, I don't care what skills you've got.
I mean, if you had, like, a strength 5 line rat,
See, I
you
wouldn't have
probably
taken the
would
strength.
I mean, strength is pretty cool on, like, a line rat, because you still don't want a strength 4 guy. Like, especially if you don't run a thrower, and you only run, like, 4 gutter runners, 2 storm vermins, like, you do have room for a strength up line rat to not be on the LOS. And then he rolls another strength, and, like, strength 5 is silly, so you take that.
This is how you end up with players like the Turbo Mummy, right? You go, oh man, I'm gonna take movement on this thing, and he's just gonna roll another movement. That's what's gonna happen. No, I just like plus strength on line rat. You're like doubling the value of it for something that's still gonna die in like a couple of hits.
Yeah, but he's
I
gonna be
don't rate
good
it.
until he takes those hits.
I know I'm in the minority by saying I don't like taking like stats and things on linemen, but like.
I mean, definitely depends on the team. Like on Chaos, you would take stats on the linemen.
Oh well, yeah, because they don't have linemen, so.
But like also, Underworld line rats still have like linemen in the name. You don't put them on the line.
Yeah, we're just going through and listing out all of the kind of like things. Next thing you'll be telling me if Chaos Pact ever come, oh the Dark Elf lineman, he's a
I
lineman.
mean,
You're not putting him
Kislev
on the
linemen
line.
are pretty good with strength up, and they are very much linemen. Yeah, but they have linemen in the name, incesticide. They have linemen in the name. No, you don't take strength on skinks because skinks are bad and bloaty.
No, we're not
No,
talking about goblins.
we don't talk. I mean, you probably goblins don't like stunties don't count, and you wouldn't take a strength on Noblar. Cause like, what's the point? Oh, I'm still terrible, but now I cost like 4 times as much. I mean, if you can get a strength 3 Noblar, he's kinda cool. But honestly, you're better off taking Dauntless. Cause, like, it's 1 skill, and you can hit stuff, maybe. Usually not. James, you take Dauntless, and then you can hit Strength 3 if you roll a 3+.
Anyway, the Skaven are kicking off. It's a high kick. And I imagine that Mr. Monster is going to be clicking on his ball carrier and saying, you can just go underneath the ball.
I'm confused.
That's not what we're seeing. We're seeing a potential catch on a bull centaur.
Kinda want the ball on sure hands. And once again, we might not see Mr. Monster going for a blitz here, unless he is going to use his Minotaur this time. Which I definitely think is the right choice. Ooh, more pushes for the Chorfs, because we didn't see enough yet.
Yeah, I mean, he rolled a lot of pushes last time, and he still eventually managed to clear the LOS.
Yeah,
So,
but this half, it's like, you really don't want to waste too much time.
That's a natural break. Pushes. Piling on, coming down. Yep. Improvement.
Yeah, nothing there really. And no knockdown, and this time there's no follow-up block. We might see the blitz on that guy.
Yeah, there's your blitz target now.
I mean, you could still go with the Minotaur and maybe blitz one of the Storm Vermins, which I kinda like, just because it's a better target, and the Minotaur is like, why would you get one? Otherwise, if you're not gonna blitz with movement 6?
I agree, but I can't see him doing it.
I don't know, I've seen him blitzing a lot with that Minotaur. Once again, no permanent damage on the block. Quite a shame, but stuns are valuable. Definitely would like to see more damage though. Oh, he's blitzing the wrestle with the Claw Mighty Blow. Can we see damage this time, or is it going to be a stun once more? Not even that.
No break.
Yep. Rough stuff. When he fails the pickup. I mean, with Papa Nasty setting up so deep, it's not too bad, because even the fastest of the gutter runners cannot pick up the ball yet. Can just mark it.
John Man mentioning that, he says it seems like Chos have had their best times in Rebel, but this is a game between 2 big O teams, and I can tell you that, like, we've never really had a Chorf team really kind of like push the limits into Div 1, I don't think. In Liam's Chorfs were really good for a while, but then, you know, they eventually started taking damage. Can't remember if they actually played in Div 1 for a season.
Rebel.net, save us!
Alright, so Liam died in Div 1. Okay.
Yeah, the Emperor says did reach Div 1. They didn't play there for... I remember that when they made playoff and then did something really silly. So we have that going for them. Which one is that, Sean, man? Because I think Hippie is arguably the best short team in Rebel. At least according to performance. I think I could argue that. Oh, it was in a hype video, James, I remember. Yeah, I mean, like, clearly Hippie never made playoffs when you think about it. Like, I mean, he won the Super Bowl, but he didn't make playoffs.
I was gonna say you guys are confusing seasons now, and that's confusing me.
No,
I'm
I'm
not.
just
I'm not
trolling
following.
Sean. I mean, like, just because he didn't make it, like, everyone, even the best coach, will have a bad season. Like, Blood Bowl is a game of dice, and if you play 100 games with a team, you will have 11 games in a row where you do really, really poorly, and then you lose a season because of that. But yeah, Skaven, just putting some pressure, not too much pressure. They don't want to commit into a fight yet, which is fair.
I wonder how much pressure Pap is feeling here. Like, like I mentioned at the start, I feel like the longer the game goes on, you would normally kind of think that the Chuffs are just gonna keep getting stronger and stronger in comparison. But like, the removals so far have been fairly equal.
Yeah, we could
So
argue they would have been better for the Skaven, really, because the Skaven still have the Rappo, and essentially, like, injuries, there have been 3 injuries on the Chops and only 1 on the Skaven, and we see a foul coming in. Ooh, bribe is gone. That makes Mr. Monster really happy to see that the fouling might be slowed down a bit.
if it is, I must admit I haven't watched enough of Papa's games to be able to say whether he's gonna slow down on the fouling or not. Bash Inc.
I
were
mean,
never really a big fouling team.
yeah, that's because they didn't have players to foul with. Like, when you have pretty much everyone, like, be a blitzer, a black orc, or a strength for thrower, or a silly lineman that rolled really well, there's not much room for dirty player.
Yeah, that is true. But there is an entire side of the field here for Mr. Monster just to take control of, keep the ball safe inside a cage or something, and sort of say to Skaven, okay, come at me.
Bring it on. The real question is, well, who do you want to blitz this turn? Because you could maybe go for something juicy, but mostly you're gonna just hit either a Storm Vermin or a Line Rat. You could maybe commit for a Glart Blitz on with the Minor, but I don't like that much. But I definitely want to see a lot of basing this turn. I think the Chops do have the tools to bring the pressure.
I think I'd be tempted just to hit this wrestle guy. I know it's a wrestle guy, so like a both dance not exactly like a result you want, but it it is just basically hitting the piece that's most likely to try and get round back on the left hand side.
You could also blitz the Dirty Player and get him out.
Yeah, I
A
guess
part of
actually.
me, a part of me feel like we might see a blitz on Glart here from the Minor, but I don't want to see it.
A blitz on
I don't think it's
Glart
very
with
good. I mean, it would put the Minor in a strong position, but it would be a blitz with the Minor, which is bad. So,
Oh, we're not seeing that.
yeah. We could move in the Hobgoblin, the rookie one, to mark the 2 Gutter Runners and then block the Dirty Player, and then have a follow-up block with the rookie Chorf. That's probably a play he should go for. Just because it's a free block, and then he maybe could blitz that Wrestle guy or a Storm Vermin, depending on how the dice goes. You also do need to consider the ball this turn, because there is a Wizard in play, so you cannot go too risky. Well, that's a knockdown on the Dirty Player.
You're definitely taking the POW.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
then you're
the push
definitely
is...
pushing it there. So.
Yeah, and it roll snakes, so no damage.
I do feel more like, no, I'd like to see like a blitz onto the wrestle guy, and then you maybe kind of make sure you put guys behind like these two linemen on the left, make sure they can't get up. Then
Yeah.
move the ball kind of like down the left hand side.
Yeah, it very much seems like he's just going in with his claw bomb onto the wrestle. And then he could use the bull centaurs to protect the ball, so the ball should be safe, especially with the whole team of Papanasti going to the right. You could go quite deep into the left and be safe, because it is still snowing. Ooh, no knockdown on the hit on the wrestle, just pushes. But he will stay next to the guard guy, so you don't have to commit another player to mark him down. So you have that going for you, I guess.
I think I would have liked to have seen this other hobgoblin basically, you know, decide what he's going to be doing before taking the pick up on
Yeah.
the ball there, but you know, it's worked out for him. Got 5 seconds to move his bull in the back.
Yep, time is running low. But sometimes the timer, when you see the, like in Cabal TV, it's skewed and not always the most correct.
Yeah, Blood Bowl 3, better replay system, please, guys. A better live viewing system.
I mean, first of all, don't ruin the rules. If they don't break the rules, I'll be happy. But that's all I'm asking
But
for.
get the game right first.
Yeah, don't break the game. Like, the rest is a bonus. But yeah, a bit of a slow turn there from the Chorfs. Papanasti going in with 2 hits. Blodge paying off on that Chorf. And we do see a stun on the Hobgoblin. No, he's going in for the Clop on the Chorf with Mighty Blow. Another break on Armor 9. Papanasti really getting the damage this game, especially considering how weak the Chorfs have been.
Yeah, it does feel like the blocking dice, or not even the blocking dice, but the no, in fact, I will say the blocking dice. Blocking dice have definitely been skewed towards the Skaven here.
Yeah. I mean, James, it's even more than only 4 teams and a worse UI. It's gonna be 4 teams, a worse UI, and also some really stupid rules that make no sense. Like, let's make the Orc Blitzer cost 10k more. Because, like, Orcs are clearly the strongest team in the game. Because that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Clearly. Clearly that makes sense.
Mandatory real-time mode.
Yeah, just don't allow people to do anything with leagues. Like, everything has to be a ladder. They can definitely do worse, James. Also, that's quite a big foul coming up for assists. But there is no bribe in play anymore. Ooh, and the ref.
That is a send-off. There we go. The ref finally making his presence felt in this game.
Yeah, ref having none of that. He had enough. And that's pretty good for the Chorfs. They get a passive removal. Second permanent removal of the game for the Chorfs, I guess. And they will get a free hit on this Mighty Blow Storm Vermin because it did base up to counter the assist.
Yeah, the Skaven are all clumped up here as well. If you can base them up, you can give them a potentially hard time. But the other thing to
The big
consider though is
issue...
that because they're in the middle of the pitch now, and because they are so fast, that I feel like it brings the wizard more into play this turn than it was last turn.
Yeah, especially with like 3 stun Chorfs and a rookie Chorf in a bad spot, this is quite messy in terms of making the ball truly safe. But there are options, because there are, like, he could maybe utilize both the Minotaur and both Bull Centaurs for the cage, and that's a lot of strength in the cage, which would make it harder to do things.
But what I want to see here from Mr. Monster is just like a really tight turn. That ends with the ball
Yeah.
being very, very, very safe.
Yeah. Like, you really don't want to, like, especially with one of the gutter runners being in the back ready to score, you really don't want to give Skaven too many options. I wouldn't even hate to see a blitz from the rookie Chof onto the Wrestle Dauntless Tackle Storm Vermin, just to maybe like remove, at least for this turn, the chance of one of the gutter runners to do a big mess. And also, he does. If you get a knockdown, you have the speed to like blitz one, bark the other. But we are going for a different line of play. He could push him next to. He gets the knockdown on the gutter runner.
Yeah, this could be an important power, but like the other way I'm looking at it now though is like, do you see 4 pieces to make a cage corner?
If you fall back a bit, you could maybe use the Minotaur to be one of the cage corners, assuming he behaves, but that is, as always, scary. You could also sort of screen. Oh no, you definitely don't sideline cage in this position. Like, you do many things, but not sideline cage, because that's. I mean, like, you just pull out the wizard and you have a 3 out of 8 that it goes out, and they essentially get a free touchdown here and probably win the game off
Yeah.
the back of that.
I'd feel bad about side caging here against a Skaven team, you know, without a wizard. Kind of like doing it against a Skaven team
Yeah.
with a wizard just feels worse.
And
If
like with
that's what he
so
goes
much
for.
two heads, it's really scary. The other option is maybe he just goes into a position that says you can get a blitz, but it has to be a red dice from next to guard. That does seem pretty bold, but it's probably better than the sideline cage, I would guess. I would definitely prefer to see that Bull Centaur go back and maybe try to reunite with the Minotaur for a cage, even though the Minotaur is also quite scary to use.
I think you're right when you're talking about like the rookie Choff. Like if the rookie Choff blitzed down the gutter runner there, he could have came further back towards the ball and been one of like the 4 cage corners. Then with
Yep.
like a hobgoblin, a bull centaur, and the other bull centaur, you could have, you know, a pretty decent cage there.
Yep. Oh, he gets the knockdown with the Minotaur. We see
That
some
was
damage
important.
finally. Yeah, I mean, a 1 in 9 there would have essentially made this a free sack without the wizard. But honestly, this is still very, very awkward. Because there is a gutter. Like, if Papa Nasty doesn't want to use the wizard, he doesn't have to. He still has a hit on the ball. Because he does have 2 heads. 2 heads could bring in, like, the street ball around. And he has the other gutter runner to do the blitz or counter the assist. So the question is, does Papa Nasty go? He goes for a fireball. I'm not a fan. Like, that could have been a failed knockdown on the ball, which would have been terrible. And honestly, that was just asking for trouble. Because if the ball was still standing, this would have been really bad.
So he's sort of in a position now where he has to kind of blitz a bull centaur here.
Yeah,
And
that
although the
scatter is
gutter runners are
definitely.
really fast, and you know, and he's got Dauntless on a lot of them, like, it's still not the
You don't.
easiest thing in the world to do here.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely one of the best scatters for the Chaos Dwarves. But
Yes.
still, I think the wizard. Like, the thing is, like, knocking down the rookie hobgoblin without the ball was very much pointless. Because, like, it kind of makes less dodges, but they are not too important. Like, if we saw, like, that guy go down, the rookie hobgoblin, but the bull centaur and the ball stay up, that wizard would have been essentially wasted. And honestly, even this wizard is quite weak. And there was definitely a chance to just really low roll and get next to nothing out of it. The stun is definitely something. It's pretty bad as a wizard, I think, especially because, like, if the play is for damage, then the damage here is very bad. And it would always be bad. If it plays for the ball, you might as well just knock the ball guaranteed. Because you don't want to like not go for the ball. Like the ball doesn't go down from the fireball, you blitz him, you roll push skull, you reroll into push skull, and then you go, oh, I could have knocked him down with a lightning bolt, but I wasted my wizard to not knock down the ball, and then a couple of pushes ruined my day. Bees! So yeah, surprisingly a good spot for the Chorfs, because the wizard, I think, was mostly unnecessary and just weak when it was a fireball. I would have at least pulled it one down to hit the guard bull centaur instead of the block bull centaur. And we are going
I'm
for
just waiting to
the...
see what he's. Yeah, we're one dicing again.
Yeah, he gets the knockdown.
Yeah, wrestle's fine there.
But the issue is the armor 6 gutter runner is not really fast enough to go in and go back with the snow and really get to safety. And because the other gutter runner is down, like, do you just do a bunch of dodge?
Oh,
Ooh,
I thought, yeah, he's going at it with Fast Frank.
Yeah, and it's definitely punished with a 1-9, finally coming to punish Papa Nasty for throwing a lot of dice. And I just don't like that wizard. I think that wizard was asking for exactly this turn. And now, if we do see a pickup for Mr. Monster, this is bad news. Because the Skaven are in a bad spot.
Yeah, there's a lot of Skaven models on the floor here. Assuming that the Chorfs do actually get the ball and manage to secure it, you know.
Yeah, the only hard part is securing it, because you don't have your sure hands, and the strip ball will always be somewhat of a threat. And also, you kinda don't want to pick up with a Bull Centaur, because, you know, Agi 2, but you're also not super fast with your only Agi 3 around. So it is messy, that's for sure. But you got the wizard out, and the Skaven don't have the ball.
Yeah, I don't think, like, even trying to pick up with a Bull Centaur here is an option. Like,
I mean, if you do it, you maybe do it with your Frenzy guy, but I think it's too dicey. Even though it would be a great ball carrier right now.
it would absolutely be a great ball carrier. I think Bull Centaurs always make great ball carriers, but, like, just in this situation with the pickup being so, you know, important, you have to go at it with a Hobgoblin.
Yeah, I think like you could move Big Bully like one to the left or one to the right. Actually, no, one to the left. Bring in the Chorf, like to also like be one to the right from where the Guard Bull Centaur is right now, and then just pick up and go between the two of them. And it's definitely not safe, but it's safe-ish, especially if the Minotaur is willing to move. Or maybe you blitz with the Minotaur into Glar to free up the Blodge Chorf to have a bit more tackle movable to mark down the strip ball, because the strip ball is definitely the most scary player on the pitch right now.
I think I'd like to see the bull stand in front of where the Hobgoblin is now. And the other bull to move 2 squares forward. He's already not doing that, but then the Hobgoblin could have came running around and actually, you know, we could have had like a decent 3x3 cage there. But I guess now we see what Mr. Monster's thinking.
The tackle on both the strip ball and the other gutter runner is definitely useful, but I'm not sure if I would do it that way. There's a lot of options here, and all of them are very much messy, so it's not an easy turn. I would like to see him just stand up all the Chorfs in the mess, like the stand firm guy and the niggled guy and the Hobgoblin, just to not give options back to Papa Nasty. And with time going fast, I mean, we're definitely close to running out of time. He's taking a lot of time to think of it. That's not a thing you would like to forget, because I don't see a blitz coming out of there anyway.
Yeah, totally. With playing a team like either Dwarves or Chorfs or something like that, I think you have to like look at all you guys on the floor and ask yourself, is there a world where I can either free these guys up or dodge them out? And you're not going to be dodging with Chaos Dwarfs in a situation like this, so just stand them all up and forget about them, and then focus on you guys that can actually move.
Yep. Now, I think we are going to see very likely a blitz from the Minotaur onto Glard, because that does free up quite a useful Chorf, and also lets the Minotaur move into a slightly better position. So it's like a win-win, I guess.
Potentially
But the
see that.
question is, do you go for the pickup first or do you go for that first? Like, what do you prioritize? Oh, where are you going? That's not. Oh, he might be going for the pickup with the bull centaur. I don't like that.
Or just don't
And
pick
he's.
up.
Ooh, that seems risky. Because there is a world where he red dices the block bull centaur and a knockdown just gives the dauntless like guy a free time just being awful and ruining the game. Yeah. Wild Animal is good. We do have Juggernaut for this split, so even a 1 in 9 wouldn't be too bad. And yeah, that frees up a Chorf. I might go with that Chorf to mark the scoring threat Gutter Runner, just to make any sort of play a bit harder.
Running
So
out of
we are
time
running
then.
out. Yeah, do you go for the pickup? That's the real question we have to answer, and this seems like a no.
I don't think it can.
Yeah. And this is risky. I think Papanasti has to go for the play here. And I think the play... Actually... Can you... You could theoretically... Like... Stand up the Storm Vermin that is free now. Assist on the Chorf, Rookie Chorf, and then dodge with the line at 3+, blitz him, and if you do get a knockdown, you can push the Bull Centaur off the ball, and then you can pick up and maybe go from there. It's gonna be some dice, but the pickup at least will be easier, and you just need to get in range to the Snow Pass. Alternatively, you can just go at the ball and say, well, I can do it. I believe in this Gutter Runner.
Yeah, or kind of again do the same chain push. Scatter push the Hobgoblin into the ball and scatter the ball and then see where it
Yep.
ends up.
That also could be that's a bit more dicey, but if it does go out and goes towards the way you want it to go, then maybe that's the way you win the game. Regardless, this is a critical turn. I think the Chorfs probably could have made a bit more effort to make this safe.
Yeah.
And now it's definitely in the Skaven's hand to see if they can roll the dice to win the game, or will the Chorfs have a chance to recover and go and pull this to overtime? Yeah, Stand Firm doing a bit there. So once again, that Stand Firm dude is really pulling his
Yeah, this
value,
is a
because now,
huge turn for Stand Firm guy.
yeah, because now the thrower is stuck, and that thrower would have made the chain push play free. Like there would be no dice for it. So definitely a good usage of Stand Firm there, forcing the thrower to be stuck. Because you kind of don't want to go for a dodge, but we might have to see a 3+ dodge here very early into the turn, and still have some other dodges later down the turn. I mean, the claw is still somewhat scary, especially if you're an AV9 team, because it is a way to hurt you. It does bring out stuns at the very least, and stuns are usually valuable. And it's just, like, he's a nice star player. He's not amazing, but he's not bad. I think I possibly would have considered one of the, like, Gutter Runner star players. And we do just see a 1 dice on this Hobgoblin. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah,
Because
Papa's absolutely not scared of these 1 dice, is he? All these ones that he's
yeah.
done in the game. He's opened up some really important plays with these 1 dice.
I'm not sure about that hit though, especially with the both down. Like that doesn't really achieve too much. Well, with those dice, that does achieve quite a lot, but
Oh,
not with that.
rolled the
Can we
1 in
see a
9
free?
eventually.
I mean, it was a 1 in 36 because of 2 heads, but still he did throw a lot
Oh
of
yeah, so 1
dodges
in
there.
36. I was
Like
thinking
that
that, I
was
just said
still.
1 in 9 for some.
Yeah, now if Mr. Monster can get a knockdown on the Armor 6 Gutter Runner, the dream of scoring here is kind of gone, and you could maybe even commit for a Bull Centaur pickup just to be fast enough to run away after the pickup and go into a safe position.
I think I'd hate the Bull Centaur pickup here. Sure hands isn't stunned anymore. You commit your blitz to get rid of the storm vermin, then you actually get it in the ball in your hands on the sure hands. Maybe try
Yeah,
and do
but the
some
sure
sort of
hand's gonna
cage
be in
around
a
here.
really weak. Like the issue with the sure hands is your only movement free from the floor, so it's gonna be an awkward position no matter what you do. So there's definitely a choice to be made here. I don't think it's clear cut. Well, we do get the knockdown. Can we see damage on armor 6? Would be huge. Ooh,
Ooh. There's a kill.
that's you can work with that. He's probably gonna come back to overtime if we reach that point, but it's still big for now.
Yeah, one drive at a time.
Yep.
Can't be looking at overtime just yet. Again, it's just, how do you maximize blocks and get, guys around the ball at the same time here? That's what Mr. Munster has to ask himself.
Yeah. You want to get some more damage. You're really low on the damage department still. Like, we didn't really see any removals this half except that KO up until now, so you do want to get some more damage. Because
I mean,
if you're gonna play against 11 Skaven in overtime, it's still gonna be rough.
yeah, in theory, like, I think every Skaven model on the pitch here could end up on the floor, depending on how we play.
Yeah.
Or there might be
Don't want to
one
take...
that isn't.
Yeah. Yeah, he only has like 4 blocks left and 5 Skaven standing, so he cannot really do that, but he can definitely get almost everyone. But the question is, you also need to prioritize protecting the ball, so you're not going to overcommit for the blocks. And I honestly would like to see a rather early pickup this turn.
I want to see an assist on Nick the Second. And then just kind of like in that area just to the left of that kind of... I know you can't see it because you're in client, but kind of the guys in chat where I'm putting my cursor around. I want to see the Choffs take control of this
Oh,
area. But
that
sure
was a
hands
scary one,
failure.
Nina. But that's probably the best scatter he could have asked for, because it's not out, and it's very safe. Like the play for the Skaven is probably just try and scatter it again and hope it goes somewhere else, and it's not an easy scatter to get.
3 turns left though, the Choffs need to start thinking about time.
Yeah. But the stand firm, the stand firm is doing well here, but the sure hands is standing, so next turn he will have the movement to pick up and go forward quite a bit and start running away. Stand firm really pulling its weight over there. Yeah, I think that's a good not stand firm, but the player is still in a key to making sure there's no easy hit on the ball or to chain the ball. But that does open up a hit on the Hobgoblin. Hobgoblin, also good. Papanassi starting to stop rolling pows and roll the pushes as well. Probably not the time you want to start rolling pushes.
Oh, definitely not. Yeah, AV7 versus AV9 is how I thought this game was gonna go kind of like 13 turns ago, Sherrock. But
Yeah, Papanasti had some very strong AV7, and on the contrary, Mr. Monster doesn't have the best AV9. But with pushes starting to appear, it's gonna be like you could dodge to blitz the Chorf to maybe try and scatter the ball, but even that is not amazing, just because the gutter runners are both in somewhat weak spots. Could also just dodge your best gutter runner and believe in a pickup. Oh, he's going for the chain push like that. I don't hate that, but the
again, it depends
scatter
on the
is definitely...
scatter. 3 out of 8
Yeah.
times, this is great for Papa. This
Ooh,
isn't
that's
one
a
of those 3 out of
bad
8
scatter
times.
for Papa. That's probably the best, one of the best scatters for the Chorfs. Could have been, like, the best one would probably be going to the Bull Centaur he catches. Because that's like, I just score easily. And also your stray ball is now stuck next to tackle. and also needs to do a snow GFI to get out of the free hit. So we're not going for the ball, we're just going for damage. That's possibly Papa Nasty accepting the fact that this is not going to go his way anymore. But yeah, if we like, the only hope for Papa to stop this drive anymore, I think, is a 1e9 from the pickup once more.
I mean, he is playing Skaven, and Skaven always seem to have options. But
They are
yeah,
down
it's
to
up to
2
Mr.
gutter
Monster
runners.
to limit them to the absolutely extreme dice.
With only 2 gutter runners on the field and one of them being essentially a free block because he's next to a blocker, like you could theoretically get both of them down, and at that point, like there's not that many options left. Like you can even maybe blitz the other one, and if you roll pushes, you can then pomb him, which is quite nice as a backup.
You stand up the Hobgoblin to make this like a 3-die hit with the Choff blocker onto the Gutter
I
Runner, or
think you,
do you just take the 2 dice and then use him to kind of run downfield?
I think you need him to round down field, and you might even take both down. I wouldn't hate just like trying to move the Minotaur next to the Gutter Runner to be the last assist, because he's not going to do much else, and he could also mark the Stone Vermin at the same time if he moves. Like, sure, it's a 4+, but it, like, might as well roll it to see if he does anything. And that's how you get your 3 dice.
Of course, the Minotaur's free though.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty much can you roll the wild animal? Not, I mean,
Yeah,
we
so
get the power on the 2 dice anyway.
this is who we are going to blitz, right? And the Mino's going to be blitzing someone downfield.
I would like to see someone blitz the last Gutter Runner that's standing. Could be the Mino. I think maybe a Bull Centaur would be better.
I agree. Like, you're being serious for a second. Yes, I want to see like the Mino hit the Gutter Runner down here. Hopefully get the power follow through and get the assist, so hit down Nick the second as well to maximize some blocks. But I
If you
would like
do
him to
it,
see, you know, at least try just to run the Mino field. So if he does gets
if,
the Mino in the vicinity of the ball, it's huge.
if you get both down with Juggernaut, would you force the turnover with Juggernaut? If you roll like push both down, because that's definitely an option, and I don't think it's super crazy. It is a good hit on the Gutter Runner.
Yep, 2 dice and a 3 dice, that was really good.
Yep, and he does get a follow-up hit. And even if the last hit was push, he would still have the Claw Pomper ready for an additional hit.
And he actually gets his hands on the ball.
Yeah, just go forward. The issue is, without getting stuns on either of the Gutter Runners, they will have options. Not the best options, but options. Because they both have Dauntless as well, so they can get 1 dice. But the snow is definitely hindering them.
Yeah.
Yeah, the snow is, for once, really hurting the Skaven team now. Like, it definitely hurts the Bull Centaurs, because they would like to be able to use more movement. As we see, the Mino is on the move. I would like to see him maybe get in the way of the strip ball guy, like stand behind the rookie Hobgoblin, and that way to dodge out forward, it has to be into more tackle zones. I mean, that also works. He could completely lock his advance and then sort of force the usage of the other Gutter Runner by going, like, you could block the last square, but he's not going for that. Do you see a knockdown on the line rat?
Can't pile on here.
Yeah, you need the
Keep
tackle.
the tackle on the feet.
Yeah, I like that. That's correct. Oh. I mean, I think you wouldn't. That's a good result, honestly, because taking that 2 dice was kind of scary anyway. A push here would have maybe enabled a way to remove the tackle, and I'm not a fan of the reroll at all.
Oh,
I think
no, you can't reroll that.
Overtime. I would have just taken it. The both down is fine. That rat is not scary. And he goes for the pylon.
I mean, he's got
Does
the
get the
KO,
KO.
but
I mean, if it was an injury, then maybe that would have been worthwhile. But KOs are very likely to come back, so not good. You could dodge. Actually, no, you shouldn't dodge out your blodge chop, I think, because that gives an easier time to maybe free up some room for the gutter runner. Like if you dodge out from Glart, Glart could move to be an assist, and then you block the rookie chop, and then it might be a 2+2+ to go in with the strip ball instead of a 3+2+ and the 3+ from tackle. Regardless, this is messy. There's not enough players next to the ball. I
the
think.
fast Frank's got what 3+2+2+2 3+3+ to get 1 dice,
I
which is
mean,
a
you
lot of
probably
dice,
use.
but
I think you use Quick Quentin because he has a 3+2+ to to hit the ball, and he just needs to roll the Dauntless.
yep, you're right there.
Oh, that's a nice 1 dice to get. Like it does still leave the first dodge a 3+, but it means the tackle is on the 2+ instead of the 3+, which is slightly better. You're less likely to use your reroll that way.
Yep, I agree.
Doesn't use the reroll anyway. Dauntless is good. Push is bad. Do you reroll that? You do, and you get nothing out of it.
I was gonna say I probably would. Again, your time travel magic.
I'm in the future.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of the follow. That follow seems genuinely scary.
surf it.
Yeah, I mean, why not? It's free.
You
It's a free
absolutely
dice.
just surf that. Unless he,
Surf,
I mean, he could
surf
dodge out and
every.
roll GFIs here, but like, eek.
I mean, like you need to do quite a bit to not be surfable by the Frenzy Bull Centaur, because he's also around. This is always surfable.
Is there a world
Oh,
where you
but
can force Mr. Monster to score before turn 16?
I mean, maybe depends on how this goes, but it's gonna be rough. That might help a bit. That could stop the surf, forcing the blitz somewhere else. Oh, down goes Mr. Storm Vermin.
Yeah, like, these guys feel very isolated all of a sudden.
Yeah. I mean, now it's just a question of how do you do this turn. You are in scoring range without GFIs, but you would prefer to not hand out even a red dice block if you can avoid it. I'm not sure how I would even play this turn. I kinda really want to do the surf. You do have your frenzy guy to just blitz for the surf. And then you could block with the ball carrier, but that is likely to leave him exposed. Oh, I'm not. Actually, I wouldn't use that guy to be an assist, but I don't hate it going for the blitz here, for the blocker on Glart. You could have used the Hobgoblin, the rookie one, and the Dauntless Chove. And that way, you can use that other dude for something else. Is he going for the self?
No, he's not.
I mean, he could not choose to not follow. I mean, he chooses to follow, so no self this time. Now, if the Minotaur
He's got
moves, this
Brave
is
Tackle.
very.
2, 5, 6. I think he has to dodge through the thrower's tackle zone here, and then just punch out through Fast Frank, because that'll be a 3-die onto Fast Frank, and that frees up the Hobgoblin to, well, how does he get safe
I would
though?
like. I would like to maybe see him try and move the Minotaur, because if the Minotaur moves, that's a guard next to the ball that will help you protect it. And then maybe you just surround the ball with guard to be safe as your game plan. Because if there's two guard next to the ball, like it's probably it is a red dice at least, which is not ideal, but it is sort of safe. Minotaur does not cooperate with the plan. Could maybe blitz the thrower here and keep the gutter runner on the ball and just put guard there to make it a bad hit. But then again, you have to respect this free Storm Vermin in the back. So You could mark him with your Nigel Choff, but that seems a bit not ideal.
For me, I don't see a world here where you can get away with not hitting that.
Yeah, it's rough. But it is gonna be dice to hit him, sadly.
It's only a 2+ dodge.
Yeah, but if you roll a push with your frenzy guy, it is going to be a 3+ GF5. You do have sure feet. So doesn't need the break tackle and he gets the knockdown. Will we see damage? No, we don't. That's quite bad.
Yeah,
You really
that's not ideal.
do you score? Because I think scoring here is really horrible, honestly.
Yeah, you can't
You're
give the
more
Skaven
likely.
that, like, 2 turns to score. I would
Oh,
really not
Glart.
like that.
Glart leaves. Skaven really, really being sturdy today. Still, very little damage this half. Like only a couple of KOs, despite getting a decent amount of blocks. Oh,
He
and he
does
goes for the score.
score. Wow, okay.
Scary stuff. You really need bad KO rolls from Papa Nasty here, I think, to capitalize and push this overtime.
Yeah, I will say though, like I said at the start of the game, I do like the way he was positioning his chevron defense at the start. It feels like, he's gonna give himself a
Ooh,
chance to stop this, but
ooh,
Skaven
that's
always find a
spicy.
way.
That is interesting. Yeah, I'll tell you that. I think this is possibly doable. Have you seen the KO rolls yet?
Damn, I have just now, yeah.
So both of the gutter runners are out, which is probably the two players you would like to see stay out. So maybe there is a chance.
I mean, yeah, it makes it, not ideal to score, but it depends on so much other stuff,
Yeah. I mean, Skaven are down to 10 now, which would help a bit. But the big thing is with only two gutter runners, you are limited in your capability. And if we see a very aggressive, like a defensive setup like this, like he did on the first half, I would like to block off to not allow an easy hit on a hobgoblin, especially with Glart running around. Like
Yeah,
swap the
the Bulls need to be on the sidelines. I mean,
yeah.
absolutely. You swap, like you said, swap the Hobgoblins and the Bulls. But, like, I also want to see kind of like the Choff blockers on the line being spaced one square apart rather than just together because,
Yeah.
Papa might as well just say here, alright, okay, if you're going to give me this to work with and it's going to be hard to set up a 2-turn threat, then I'll just go for the 1-turn instead.
I mean, the one turn in the Blizzard is insanely like scary because just these two GFIs at the end are hard. So I don't think we would see it.
He doesn't have a lot to lose, though.
I mean, I think you're more likely to score the two turner than the one turner though, and that's a lot to lose. Just because getting the pushes is still somewhat difficult. But yeah, not a bad plan to just spread a bit. This is still quite difficult for Papa Nasty because with only two gutter runners, you really need to think a lot of like how do you put both of them in range and in a good spot while still enabling your thrower to pass to them because the Blizzard is like you cannot say, well, if the kick is deep, I'll just accept the fact that it's a very long pass because Blizzard. Then you really don't want to like pass to a line rat and then hand off or something of that kind because that could be blocked by basing up as many people as the Choffs can.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure. Like, if Papa wants to go for the one turn, it is doable, but it's dicey as always.
Yeah, I mean, the 1-turn's on. The charge up the middle is on. Or
I mean,
even just
charge up the
sending
middle.
Glad after one of those Hobgoblins and opening up a sideline, that's on as well. Like,
Yeah. I mean, the issue with the charge up the middle is you still need like 3 players to actually block the 3 dudes in the center. And if the stand firm is annoying or you roll some pushes, like we could see 5 players being committed to hit all the players, and then you can't really do the charge on. Also, probably would like to see the gutter runners placed further ahead to have more options to reach around. Because sure, in the back they are good against the blitz, but are you afraid of a blitz? This setup is very susceptible for some couple bad rolls on that stand firm dude. Because if we see push from the wrestle, this is going to get really bad really quickly.
Kickoff event's gonna be heat here. Heat or
Ooh,
very sunny.
I would like to see perfect defense, because that's always silly. I mean, that's really good for the Chorfs.
Yeah,
It's a
brilliant
reroll back.
coaching, definitely. Having said that, it's a very easy pickup for Papa to work with.
I mean, 1E9s fail. We've seen 2 1E9s on pickups from the Chorfs. One of them for the Skaven would be really bad, because the ball is quite deep. It does get the stand firm down. So it could go for the push through the middle, but it's not going to be super easy to make completely safe. And also a push here on this rookie Chorf would still make it difficult. Ooh, we do see the push. Kinda, yeah, you take the both down, but that's a player forced into the block again. Like the guard is not going to go in for the push through, so you're very much limited in players. You could go with only 5, but that seems quite risky. So yeah, possibly a good position for the Chorfs to stop this score. Definitely 2 gutter runners down is going to help.
I don't know. I don't feel confident, making a claim as to what I think is going to happen here. It's in the end of this turn.
Fair enough. There's a
Yeah,
lot
see, with
left to
just that
happen.
power, I feel like he can make a cage up, like, somewhere near the logo.
Yeah, but how safe is that? Like the thing is, especially with the Blizzard, like you need to respect the fact that you cannot toss like too far. So you cannot stay in the back at safety away from the bull centaurs. You need to kind of push forward.
Hand off an
And if you
Emperor.
go, oh, I mean that's still scary. Because if you do fail the handoff or the pickup on the one, I mean you could make a cage here on the front. That's probably the play. The question is how good that cage will actually be. There's also always the chance to do the break tackle cage dive if we don't see a blitz on the bull centaur. He's not blitzing that bull centaur. Blitzing the other one. Do get the knockdown on backbreak junior. That gutter runner seems not very useful to build a cage though. The one that did the assist. Because it's either a wide cage, which is probably bad, or he's not part of the cage.
Wow, KO on the bull. Damn.
Claw doing things. If that was Claw Mighty Blow, that would have been an injury.
Honestly though, guys, I don't think it does take balls to make a handoff here. Like, I don't see, like, I feel like here, the game's here for the Skaven to win. And, it's for the Chorfs not to lose. Like, the Chorfs don't win in this second half right now. The Chorfs win in overtime. So, it's up to Papa to, mind you.
What? That's pretty bad. That's why you kind of are scared of the handoff. Because now, there's a line rat and 1 gutter runner in range, and I think both of them are very easy to stop. And so this might be going to overtime. My overtime senses are tingling. Yeah, classic Skaven thrower. They always do that.
You guys really don't like the Skaven throws, do you?
I mean, I don't mind it, really. But they are a good meme, so I'm gonna laugh at them. I mean, even if, like, the thing is with Wrestle on the Gutter Runner, you totally take a both down to pull him down, and you can make it a 6 dice with Frenzy. And honestly, a 6 dice with Frenzy should knock him down.
Yeah.
Or, push him deep enough that it's really bad. Because even if he's like 2 squares back, it's still messy to do anything impactful. And you could then chain push Glart to chain push him out of range if you're really brave and still don't get a knockdown on 6 dice. And honestly, the line rat shouldn't be even considered now that he's heavily marked. So he's not going for. I don't like this blitz. You have to reroll that, I think. Because, like, at least if you blitz with a chop, you could have blitzed from the other side to get a follow-up block with the Mighty Blow Dauntless. This is definitely a mistake. And it might be punished. But you can get in his way. So it's not over.
He's gonna be able to get a hit on Glad. And
Yeah.
if you just make like a literal wall in front of that gutter runner, as well as the hit on Glad, I think you're gonna end up being.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you can get the Minotaur to move, you could still, like, sort of screen from a wraparound chain push to maybe break that wall. But it's definitely not the correct play, because honestly, there was no reason to not use the other Chorf blocker, the one with Clopomb. And then you would also have the push him to the other Chorf, and at least you get 6 dice that way. Although, as always, it just would have been better to use the Bull Center or get the 6 dice, push him back. Because this is now definitely a lot of risk that was not needed.
Nope, piles on the Glad.
I might not have followed that. Because now it's super easy to chain push you. From any side, really. You could push. Yeah, I think this is definitely a weak play. This might give an opening for the Skaven that they shouldn't have gotten with after that 1-9. Because now you can just, like, blitz the rookie Chorf and push the Gutter Runner 1 to the side. And then, like, it's a 2+2+ dodge. It's just a matter of getting the ball to him at that point, which will be hard, but not impossible. Yeah, stand firm goes down. Pretty much just a matter of can we get the ball to him. We will need a pick up and a pass. And a catch probably in multiple tackle zones. But this could have been averted.
Yeah, it could have. I think we can
Yeah,
say in
the
general,
Chorf.
like, the Chorfs have been quite poor at spotting the 3 dice blocks this game.
Yeah. I mean, they just didn't go for them, like, so many times for no reason. Like, why wouldn't you want more knockdown chances, especially on such a strong player
Yeah.
and in such a strong position? Well, that helps. And also, honestly, putting the line rat there is pointless.
Is he gonna reroll that?
Actually,
It does.
like, this is not like, that seems like, oh, this is a fancy chain push, but it achieves. Actually, it stops at GFI, I guess, but it doesn't achieve too much
Oh, that Blitz
from
achieves
putting the
something.
line rat. Yeah, but no reroll for display, and you are further away, so it's actually harder to do the pass. Because I think that stops it from being a 2+ into being a 3+. But I'm not sure. I didn't count.
You're gonna have to do some GFIing to make it into a short pass.
Oh no! 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 It's snowing!
That doesn't work.
It's snowing!
That doesn't work.
I mean, he could hand off to the gutter runner, and maybe he has enough movement
Does
to
he though?
not. I don't know. I think he's just enough without GFI.
Yeah, he's gonna be able to do it with some GFIs, I think.
I mean, with GFIs for sure. I don't know. I think he needs
So
one
is it?
GFI. One or none. I'm not. I don't remember the numbers. I think it's none. Because it's 6 for yellow pass. Yeah, that should be fine. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, he gets it. Definitely a misplay from the Chiefs. 100% a misplay from the Chiefs on that first 16. Not going for a 3 dice on such a critical hit. Not using the frenzy. No, setting up perfectly to give Papanasti a chain push. Like after a decently well played game from both coaches, like sure the Skaven had insanely good armor that definitely helped them, but I genuinely think the Chiefs could have stopped that score.
Oh yeah, they could have, and it wasn't just the armor of the Skaven that kind of like held up really well. There was some critical plays that were kind of relying on kind of like one dice blocks to open up paths. And those
Yeah.
times when the Skaven really needed their one dice blocks to come through, they rolled exactly what they needed.
Yeah.
So
On the other hand, the Chiefs did elect to not take a lot of 3 dices, and the last one they did not take probably cost them the game.
yeah, that's true. I think
Yeah,
I'll say that
congrats
is the
to.
story. Skaven making one dice blocks and the Chorse not making 3 dice.
Yep. So yeah, congratulations to Papanasti, commiseration to Mr. Monster.
Yep, and that's all from this game. So, coming up at the rest of today, I just refreshed my calendar to make sure nothing's been removed or added this time. Saturday, yeah, so at 10 p.m. for me, which is in about 3 hours, 15 minutes, you've got another Challengers Cup game, which is the Conspiration Entropique versus Night Seeing Knee. And then 3 hours after that, you got more Challenger Cup things, and then you've got games kind of spread.
Yeah,
You
have
know,
a
at
bunch of
various
playoff
hours after that.
challenges. Yep.
Plenty of Blood Bowl for you all to watch. But yeah, guys,
Yep.
this was a little bit of an impromptu stream from me here. Thanks so much for turning up. Thanks for Gerber for jumping in as well.
Stay classy, folks.
And you all have a good day, good evening. So, everyone, see y'all next time. Take it easy. Bye bye.